And screen share. Okay, so tonight I want to talk about finding your people through posting. And I want to preface is just because we talk about finding your people does not mean if you start posting this way that people are going to flock to you, because Angie can tell you like it people are still, you still have to invite. Like you still have to get in their messages and invite them. This just helps you find your people who are maybe going to follow you, interact with your content more, and understand you more. So this is kind of like, how do you speak to your people? So first off, our announcements is that Super Weekend is April 22nd through 24th. Pretty soon here, they should be sending out the maps of where locations are, like for live classes, live events. That's what I was looking for. I talked about having one at my house. I think my parents are coming out that weekend because it's the only time that it works for my parents to come out. I was just opening the chat here. There's one Saturday in Sioux Falls. Ooh, that's good to know. That is really good to know. And so there's one on Saturday in Sioux Falls. My parents are coming out because it's the only time that would work. My mom works at a tax place, and obviously you all know taxes are due the 18th, so she couldn't come out until after that. And so I think I'm unavailable that weekend unless their plans change. Next summit is in July. That is like our big conference. It's also still not too late if you haven't bought a ticket to sign up to go with us, because I just had on my timeline that like Friday was when I bought my ticket for Summit my first year. Bike sale ends the 11th, which is the bike sale for $999. If you need the code, let me know. Fire and Flow comes out in May, Lift More July, and then we are doing a coach sneak peek on Tuesday, 7:30 Central, so 6:30 Mountain Time. And if you're in Eastern, that would be 8:30 Eastern. So coach sneak peek on Tuesday. I would love for you guys to invite to that and totally like just blow it out of the water, because 2-star is so close, but I do need like I can't get there myself. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about posting. And some of this might sound a little bit familiar because like when I think of it is I think about like how we need to be us, right? Like everyone out there has their people, but too often we get caught up in what everyone else is posting. We get caught up in what others are doing, that we forget we need to focus on what we love, what makes us us, and who we are. So let's get started. Number one, if you haven't yet, feel free to go back in the team calls on my YouTube and watch the You Are More Than a Beachbody Coach, because that is, did I hit the record button? Okay. As you can tell, my brain is so scattered, but I'm feeling so good after gut health week 1. Like I'm ready. I just have random blank moments. We had a guest speaker who came on and did an entire call on just like, you are more than a Beachbody coach, but that was like a year ago. So I think it's a good reminder is like, who are you, right? Like, no, like really, who are you? Like, what do you do? What are your hobbies? What defines you? I think we get so caught up in like, well, I can only post about, or I'm only going to post about my workouts, my meals, my health, that kind of stuff, that we forget that like Beachbody is a small percentage of the life we live, and we have a lot of other life. A key example is that like I never talk or post much about being a teacher, which I don't understand, because there's 4.4 billion 4.4 million teachers, excuse me, in the United States alone, 4.4 million. So you think like when I don't speak about teaching, I am leaving out 4.4 million people. So no matter what like your career is or what you do, there's a large percentage of people also in that career or similar careers that need you to talk about that. And stuff like that. So I always forget to talk about things. I find myself, it's really easy for me to write content about working out. It's easy to write content about that kind of stuff. It's harder for me to relate to, or not relate to, but post about other things, just because it's easier to do health and fitness because that's my gear. So just remember that. So first, I just kind of wanted to talk about like, where should you be posting, right? So first off, you should be posting in your stories and showing off what you're doing in everyday life. This shows your personality best. And honestly, I think stories build the quickest connection because they see your face, they hear your voice, they learn your personality, all of that kind of stuff. They learn the most about you in stories. Second, you should be posting on your feed because these posts are permanent and they show up on the feed of others, and they're perfect for showing things like in the pictures and having longer captions, right? If I took my caption in most of my posts and I spoke them on my stories, it'd probably be like 8 to 10 stories, which would just be way too long. But this is also, you have to think about on your feed, that's what other people see right when they come to your page. So if Steph likes a photo of someone who maybe isn't following her, and then they're like, oh, who's this Steph person? I'm going to go check them out, right? And so those feed posts are the first thing they're going to see. And that's going to make them decide, are they going to follow you or are they not going to follow you? And so those are important. For like when you should be posting stories multiple times a day, right? There is a huge gap. Like I stop posting stories at about 6 a.m. and then I start posting them again around 6 a.m. So there's like a 12-hour window. I don't post anything on my stories because of my job. I don't post while I'm teaching. And so like personally for me, like that's totally fine. My people see me show up morning and night, but it's good to kind of space yourself out. So first off, there's 3 parts I kind of want to talk about. I want to talk about the image that you're posting, right? Like what is it you're using for a graphic or a video? Second off is your tagline. So does your tagline stop the scroll and make them want to read? The tagline, think of it as on Instagram, there's the picture and then there's like a sentence and then it says like read more. So that's your tagline. And then message, what should people be taking out of it? Like overarching, like what do you want people to walk away with? So first off, the image, and this is the first impression. This is the first thing people are going to see. It is what needs to, apparently I didn't take that off, right? But this is the first thing, and it's going to decide, do people want to keep reading it or are they just going to keep going? So it needs to be eye-catching. Also, like some really good things for eye-catching is bright colors, good lighting. Like when things are dark, it just naturally, like we don't look at them as much. Whereas if something's natural light, we will stop and take it in because our eyes are drawn to natural light. Some things, taking pictures outside is really good for natural light. Taking them facing a window is really good. An example right now, like if you're sitting and a window is behind you, like for example, I just think of like Angie has the window glowing right behind her, like she shouldn't take a picture. That's why if you notice, she's always actually on the opposite wall. Yeah, like she uses that window to create more light. And you can have artificial light, right? Like some of us have light rings, stuff like that. I would say it's still not as quality light as natural light, but sometimes you got to work with what you got to work with. It should also match the flow of your grid. Not saying you have to spend a lot of time being like, okay, all my pictures. If you've ever seen one of those Instagrams, it's what I would aspire to be in my life, but will never happen. Like it's like all blues in the background or like whites. And it's like a very cohesive, consistent theme, which is gorgeous. But like, no, I don't have time to do that. But it should somewhat flow, right? Like try to avoid like abrupt things. Also, another key point is different types. What I mean by this is different sizes. Sometimes maybe you do carousel posts like with more than one picture, so they swipe through. Maybe you do a video, maybe you do a reel, maybe you do a live, like different types of content is also very good. I encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone. If you haven't tried reels, they're fun. Just give it a shot. And then does your image match your tagline, right? Like here I have, this was at NLC at a Team Beachbody event. Like I probably wouldn't post something about how much I love my dogs in this post, or I wouldn't post a recipe with this picture, right? So does your picture match your content? And your tagline, and then switch up your poses. So I try to do things like, I think it's really easy for us, obviously, because I take the same workout selfie every single day, and it's easier to do like the same pose in the same spot in the same thing. Like try sitting. Like I think of this picture, right? Like this was different. I'd never done something like this, but sitting, arm in the air, right? I'm trying to think if there's, we'll go through more pictures, right? But different poses, just strike different people's different perspectives, some up close, some far away, some of multiple people, some of singular people. Because I find I try to look at my feed and be like, okay, is every single picture I'm posting a selfie, right? Like Or am I differentiating so that people are seeing different things? Next, we have taglines. And I never really focused much on taglines till about this summer, but this is that first sentence. So I want you to think back to English class when your teacher was like, you have to have a hook in your paper, right? Like, what is going to get people to read your paper? This is the same thing. Like, this is trying to get people to stop their scroll and read the rest of the post. And this is going to engage your audience, right? So what would make you stop and make you be interested in what you had to say? So some ideas could be like asking a question right off the bat. You could start a story. You could use a quote. I use a lot of quotes.
Hey, Brianna.
Yes.
I love that you just are talking about the taglines, because I feel like I've been getting in like this like kind of cadence here recently with all my posts, that I've been starting them with just a tagline, and then like I go into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been thinking to myself, like, is this okay to start doing on every single one of my posts? Like, is this a good so like I'm glad that you did just say that, because I've literally just been thinking about this in the last couple of days. Because every one of my posts, I've been doing this now.
I love it. And yeah, I use quotes. I use like almost everything. Like, I think of my punchline. What is your one liner? Like, if they literally don't get anything else out of the post, or if they don't read it, like, what is the one thing? But you hope that it's intriguing enough that they're like, oh crap. Like, and guys, I kid you not, I have a note section on my phone. I also realized I wrote a list for the store and I didn't even get things on the list. Okay. That's what was open. But I have something literally called taglines on here. Obviously, I can't find it right now, but it's just literally like bullet points of taglines I could have, or takeaways. And so then when there it is, taglines, right? So it's like super simple. And it's literally just on my phone. It's literally one-liners that I think of. So questions, right? Like, I think of with teaching, like, do you remember your first job? What do you remember about your favorite teacher? There is no easy button. Now introducing Brianna 2.0. I'm going to show you a little thigh. Okay, not really, but right, like, just like things that you're like, what the heck is she talking about? Like, she's going to show me a little thigh. Like, to me, that means I'm going to tell them something like kind of that people don't talk about, or something like that, right? To do like, just, you can't kick your feet up, right? You're worth it because you breathe. So as I listen to podcasts, as I read things, as I watch videos, I keep this tagline so that I can go back to it when I don't know what to say, right? I have a quick confession to make. Confession time. I'm embarrassed to admit, to the girl who feels like she needs to be at all, this isn't a dress rehearsal, this is life, right? It's literally just a notes that I keep. And anytime I'm listening to motivational stuff, I use it. Some things you could do is ask for feedback, right? My people love to have an opinion. They love to tell me, should I wear this or should I wear that? Do I like this color? Do I like that color? Encourage them to swipe. So if I have a carousel, it'll be like swipe to the end to see the bloopers, or swipe to the end to see XYZ. Swipe to see how it turned out. You can also, like I said, say something crazy like I have a confession to make, or I'm going to show you a little thigh, right? There's a ton of different ones you can use. And then you can also use emojis. I've tried to incorporate emojis a lot more in my captions to try to break them up. And I think they add just like a little bit of color and power and just like imagery to my caption, instead of just having a crap ton of words and stuff like that. So that's taglines. I use them for every single post. And a lot of times there's two ways to go about it. You can either write your post and then go back and create a tagline, or you can take a tagline and write your post based on that tagline. So if you can't, like, don't get stuck thinking, okay, I have to have a tagline first. You could like write what you want to write about and then pick out a key piece, and you can always repeat it later. You can put your taglines multiple times because they are your winner chicken dinners. Oh yeah. Emily said, starting all mine with 1 to 2 words in all caps. Okay. Next up, we have the message. And I don't want you to get too confused on this. I want to keep it really simple. Is what would you need to hear? Because at the end of the day, Like, we need to think about what our clients need to hear. And I don't want you to worry about being too specific. I think so many times we try to spread this huge blanket over because we want as many people to get something out of this as possible, that we don't narrow it enough to speak to our ideal person. And I'm not here, I don't give a crap about avatars, right? I'm not saying the girl who signs up with me is brown hair, she's an ag teacher, she has a dog, she loves bubbler. Like, no, I'm saying like my people who are going to sign up are the people who felt the way I felt, and are the people who like, they know they can do it, but they need the accountability. They know that they're successful. They know that they need to work out, but they just can't get themselves to do it without like the peer pressure and the challenge of each other, right? My people are the people who are obsessed with goals, challenges, badges, closing their rings, that kind of stuff, motivated by that, right? And so the more details you actually have about a story, it really brings them in, because it helps us hear the story, imagine the story, and it helps us relate it back to our lives, right? Like, when I tell my story about how I sign up as a coach or sign up for Beachbody, I talk about the specifics. Like, I was sitting on my couch after another day of teaching that I hated. I was confused, didn't know if I wasted the last 4 years of my life in college. I was binge watching America's Got Talent for hours every night while my husband was still at work at his job. That was way too demanding. Right? Like, just like specific details, because then people can relate to that, right? Like, they're like, yeah, like my husband's job like is really demanding too. Or like, oh my gosh, like I binge watch a lot of Netflix and just feel like I don't have the energy to get off the couch. So don't be afraid to put in like those very specific details of exactly how you felt, exactly how, like, what was going on, because it really like brings in the story. Um, and then end the call with an action item. So, or sorry, end with a call to action. So tell them what you want to do. And I've gotten better at this. I realize not every call to action has to be, you know, comment below for like to join my group, or message me to join my group. I'm going to be honest, I rarely say those anymore, because it's rare that someone's going to publicly comment on my post if they are struggling with self-image, if they are struggling with confidence, if they feel like they know they need to work out, but they can't stay accountable. Like, no one is going to publicly say that in front of everyone, right? So things I really like to say is check out my story for more details. Sometimes I'll say like, if we're, I don't know, doing a free group, I'll do like comment below, or I'll do like, I think gut health, when I started talking about gut health, I said like comment, and I did like the green hearts below if you have questions about your gut health. Message me for details, click the link in my bio. Also, your call to action doesn't have to be about joining you. I've done ones like the other night, I did a call to action that was tag someone below in the comments you're grateful for. I had people on Facebook and Instagram. Did I have masses? No, but I had, 3 or 4 people who commented and tagged other people and said they were thankful for them. And my hope there is that, well, hopefully those people then are drawn to my page, they follow me. Great, right? Comment below which outfit I should wear. Comment below your best tips for one I just saw someone do was traveling with a infant, right? Another one a lot of people do is tips for, going into a new school year, tips for whatever, right? So call to action is just, what do you want them to do? One I really liked is check out my story, because typically every day on my story, I have like some type of poll. So I like to tell them to go look at my story for more details. Okay, maybe I should have like went back with the message and the content, but I think a lot of us get stuck on what to post. And the thing that they say is there's 3 categories, right? There's educational. Are you teaching them something? Entertaining. Are you making them laugh or making them like interested? And then emotional is the third one. I don't know if that's actually the third one. I couldn't really remember the third one, but that one seems like it makes sense to me. And maybe that's just my third one. But I personally am an emotional human being. So I post a lot of things about myself, right? Or like things that have an emotional attachment, some ideas. And guys, there's a ton of team calls on posting. So if you want more like examples of content, feel free to go back in the YouTube to the team call to talk about that. This is more of like an overarching, like posting as a whole. This isn't like, let me hold your hand through like creating content. but some ideas is recipes, routines, tips and tricks. I think of like, oh my gosh, I am watching all of you guys who are moms. I kid you not, I watch your crap all the time and like make mental reminders. I started following mom pages, guys, and I'm not pregnant. Like, so don't like be like, oh, Brianna, like, but like I watch them because, and like I read like Steph the other day posted about tips like how do you give it all up to God and how do you like do all this stuff. And like I was in there reading the comments because I was like, I am so interested in this for like when I'm a mom. And so like I'm watching people, right? Like I have people who watch me, who follow me strictly because I'm a teacher and they're hoping I post stuff about teaching, right? Um, Entertaining. I think of reels as entertaining, things that are funny, things for fun. I think of my dogs. I think of anything that's just like something we enjoy watching. And then emotional. And when I think of emotion, I think of our stories. I think of our successes, our growth, our failures, our hiccups, all of that that has an emotional connection. And I want you to think of, okay, I'm going to actually show you guys right now the emotional, I don't even know what it's called, emotional word wheel. I don't know. We'll see if that's what it's called. This is what I've been using because remember in English class, remember when we were in English class and you'd be like, the thing was very good. And your teacher's like, don't use the word good. Like, stop using those like crappy words that like everyone uses. So these are like wheel of emotions and I love it. And I use it when I'm curating posts if I have time to like sit down and focus on it. My computer is also slow as all get out, but these take words and they give you like better words and you don't need a sticker. You can Google them and you can like download it. But for example, like instead of saying like, I was so fearful, like I felt worthless. I felt insignificant. I felt so exposed when I when I had to go to the pool the first time, after gaining my weight. I think of angry, right? Instead of like saying like I was angry, right? Or like I think of withdrawn, numb, skeptical. And there's good ones too, like happy, instead of saying like I'm so happy or I'm proud of myself, right? I feel successful, I feel confident. Instead of accepted, right? I feel respected and valued. I feel thankful, I feel hopeful, inspired. There's tons of these too that you can go on, and there's positive word wheels. I'd have to find like the actual, I think it's this human systems one. There's there's uncomfortable, like negative emotions, and there's good emotions. Like this one is really bad. It's going to ask me 10,000 things. But look up, I'm not going to go through it all, but feel free to look at the emotional word wheels because they give you like, instead of saying like, I'm so happy, like, how do we use words that pack a punch? And a lot of them are buzzwords, right? Like things that people like hear and they're like, oh. And so that's another thing I look at a lot to try to curate my posts. And lastly, I wanted to end with this is like, who are you? Like true at your core, who are you? Because people want to know you. We can all like, and I have to remind myself of this all the time, right? So here are some examples I think of, right? You can they say like create a pie chart with 6 pies, pick 6 things to post about, but I'm going to break it down even more to like 4, like fitness. So, right, like obviously fitness is our priority. We love healthy eating, we love workouts, and we have to be proof, right? So obviously fitness is in there. Number 2 is like our family, right? You can show off your loved ones, and that doesn't have to mean posting pictures, but you can talk about what you have going on. It can be whatever, but like, right, your loved ones, your kids, your husband, your pets, your friends. I lump our coaching group in my family. So sharing about my coaching relationships, and I guess you could say relationships in general could be this category. Next is your job. Because again, I think a lot of us forget that like we spend more time at work than anything. So if we can also relate to people on a level at their jobs and help them with that, that's huge. Because I was doing the math the other day, mostly because my sister-in-law posted about being a working mom and how like when you have a kid and you're a working mom, you really only get to spend like 2 hours a day with them just because they sleep and do things, but I even thought of like the time I'm at home. So I'm at home like awake for an hour and a half in the morning, and then I'm typically at home for 4 hours at night. So I spend 5.5 hours at home in the total day awake. So like it kind of puts it into perspective, like I should talk more about teaching because I spend probably 9 hours a day at my workplace. And then lastly is fun. And I lump this in anything else. What are your hobbies? What trips? What's your home life like? Maybe you love home decor. Maybe you love Disney. Maybe you love crafting. Maybe you love sewing. Maybe you love anything, hunting, fishing, camping. I don't care. Anything else fits in this category, but try to rotate through these because I think when we give ourselves, okay, like I'm going to talk about fitness today and I have a 21-day posting rotation. If you really want to, it's in the Google Drive. But I think this is even a simpler way to say, like, okay, these are the things I'm going to talk about this week, and just try to switch it up. So I hope that you got something out of this. I hope that you feel like now you can go through and you can go back and you can really go and make a post that has, right, your 3 parts, your image that is eye-catching and bright and fun, your and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can prop your phone up on anything, doesn't matter. It can have a tagline and then it can have a good message, right? And so what do you want people to take away from it? So if you want to learn more, definitely there's a ton of team calls on it. But content, anyone on here will tell you the more you write it, the easier it gets. And if you're someone who struggles, I would write it, figure out when your good time is. I used to write all my content right after I worked out because I feel like I can conquer the world after I work out and like everything's flowing to me. I used to also, a little thing that I used to do was keep a notepad down in my workout room. So anytime my trainer, right, our workouts are full of taglines, full of inspirational quotes. I would go in and I literally just had a notepad and like between sets, I would go write it down or I'd click pause and I'd write down the quote. And that's how I started a good photo editing app. I personally use Lightroom. What did I used to use? I think I used to use Visco for presets. And I personally, like this was what, a year or two ago, bought like a $10 preset from Chic Influencer that brightens it. Like if you notice mine are highly like, I don't know what you'd even call it. High, I don't know. And so you can get different ones, but you can look up different companies and they have like presets you can download. And like I said, I think I spent $10 on mine and I got a bunch of presets, but I literally use the same one. So it's cohesive. You can use your iPhone editor. You can use, Visco. I'm trying to think what else you can. I would steer away from the like, what is it called? The other thing I used to do is I used to use, so if you click like next and you go edit, I used to have numbers down here that I knew like, okay, brightness, I liked at 25. This, I liked it this. So I kind of like play and I used to way back. I always used the blue like color edition on there. I don't know. So weird. But I had like things on Instagram and maybe you could even Pinterest, like best Instagram editing like set, and they might tell you a number. But those are a few things I've done before. One thing I feel like is not feeling narcissistic when I post all the time. So one thing too is maybe so you that like one thing is to remember that it's not all about you. I think that's so true, Emily, is it's not about you necessarily, but about them. So maybe changing the phrases from like, I just finished my workout program to like, how would you feel if you just logged your 200th workout? Or like trying to use the word you more but like using how you feel, but trying to get them to be in your shoes and trying to show them the possibilities. So, because I think that's another good point. I love that you brought that up because I think we get really like, I just did a crazy workout. I'm starting this. I'm doing this. When it's like, we want to make it about them and about like how they feel when they sign up. And so that's a really good point because it's easy to feel like we're just like bragging about ourselves. But that's where too, like, it comes in. That's where I really like to talk about faith and stuff like that. Cause it's not about like, I read my Bible every day. Cause honestly, I haven't in a long time, but it's like posting about like things and topics that I hope people can apply to their own lives.
I also like to go through like all my previous posts and just see like what is something that I have not posted about in a long time. Just kind of doing some soul searching there and looking at those things really helps too. And then I also love like just going to your gallery and like hitting like up really fast and like getting really far back and being like, oh yeah, I totally forgot I took this picture. Like today I was just looking at some Nashville pictures that I never posted for my bachelorette. So I'm definitely going to make those into some posts this week. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Go back and post old photos. The other thing is if you're ever like, I don't know what to post. Sometimes Angie will text me and she's like, I have no clue what to post. I'm like, go reuse a post, girlfriend. Like for some of you guys who have been doing this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, even my business coach has talked about like reuse posts, like go in and be like, holy crap. I loved that post when I posted it, reposted it, guys. No one's going to ever know what you post, like unless you had a viral post. Even then people aren't going to know. So if you're ever struggling like what to post, go back and reuse, and you could even change it, update it a little bit. But there have been times where I've quite literally taken a caption that I've really, really loved from like months ago, put a new picture on it and done it again, or use the same picture, because again, no one's going to remember what I posted a year ago. So there you go. Don't be afraid to reduce, reuse, recycle too, if you've been doing this a while. It's another thing to take some stress off. Okay. Any other questions? These are so good. Okay, it's a party. I gotta take a boomy before we go. What should we do? Wave? Should we wave or do whatever? Do whatever you want. Okay. Ready? Ready, set. Okay, you guys are so cute. Okay. And so I hope you all have a great week. We'll have team call next. Yes, because it's not Easter yet. We will not have a team call on Easter weekend, just because most people have that Monday off and running around and stuff like that. I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements. The only thing, if anyone sees or hears a date for job 1, let me know. Like they still have it. My theory is they're selling enough challenge packs of it still that like they're not releasing it yet. I don't know. I still have people signing up with it. So I don't know, but I'm like, I have never gone this long with a program on early access while another program is launched. It's really weird. Never had that before, but we shall see. So I'll be hopping on in the evenings every night to do power hours. So if you want to hop on together, feel free to message me. Even if I have some stuff done, like I'd love to just hop on and keep you accountable. So just let me know, but have a great week, everyone.
Also, Amanda and I are on at like us in Ohio. We're on doing ours at 2:30 every day. So I don't know what that is at your guys' time, but you're
2:30 your time.
Yeah, 2:30 our time, so Eastern time.
So it'd be 3:30 our time, I think, right? No, it'd be 1:30.
1:30 your time.
Thanks, Emily. I don't know, my time zones are so great. I like don't know which way. Okay, 1:30 our time. Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Peace out. Have a great night.